Today on the Arguing Agile podcast, we're going to talk about AI in product management. Is it really the genuine superpower that makes you a 10x PM? Or is it just another tool like the new Jira or something? Brian, would you consider yourself an AI native PM? Or are you still out here being a traditional PM? You know, doing things with actual humans and having product taste.
Listen, I'll say yes to anything AI related at this point. In fact, I'm not just AI native, okay? I'm AI codependent. I would ask Claude to spell my name if I didn't think that it would hallucinate 3 different versions and then give me a doctoral dissertation on the environmental impact of consonants. But seriously, I'll agree to anything in this podcast as long as you don't make me use the word taste to describe product sense. Welcome back to Arguing Agile. If this is your first time, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, product manager Brian Orlando, and this is my co-host, enterprise business agility consultant, and the smooth operator of business operations, Mr. Patel. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago.
Oh, that's Western right. Maine too. Okay, all right. Let's roll. Let's go.
So here we go. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to identify the AI execution trap. We'll talk about what that is. You'll be able to master the 5 pillars of product sense as outlined by Shreyas Doshi. We'll talk about his article. That's kind of what we've bounded the whole podcast around. And then you'll stop competing on commoditized skills, or at least we hope that you do.
Yeah, and you'll be able to start building the only career moat that actually matters.
Ooh, good call. So we kind of put this podcast together based on an article that Shreyas wrote. So I'm showing the article on the screen between us now. It's from March 4th, 2026, titled Why Product Sense is the Only Product Skill That Will Matter in the AI Age. And we've kind of taken the outline here, and we've wrapped the entire agenda of the podcast around it. So we'll be referring back to this. We'll be quoting from this, but we're not necessarily going to read like point for point.
Yeah, you can read it for yourself if you want to. Maybe we'll put a link in the description below.
For our first category, is knowing how to use the latest AI agent going to save your product roadmap, or is it just the new baseline?
Boy, this is going to be a really good one today.
So here's our first Shreyas quote. So our first citation here from the article: tools have never been a significant source of alpha in product success, and that is not changing with AI tools. So in the article, if you read the article, which we will here just so we can look, he says, he gets to a point here in the intro where he says basically, yeah, great. I mean, these tools are a significant advantage for everyone that has the tools, but what happens in a future world where everyone has the tools? That the haters right now, they will call us haters. They won't, but we're calling it anyway. Yeah. We're turning the tables on. We're market segmenting hating on the internet like it's 1993 over here. He says tools have never been a significant source of alpha in product success, and that's not changing with AI tools. He says anybody can adopt the tool and therefore have the advantage. Sure. So in a world where everyone has an advantage,
no one has an advantage. Yeah.
Right. So he says what this means for you personally is, while you can and should use all the AI tools, you cannot bank on your use of these AI tools today to provide you a long-term advantage in your product career.
Yep.
So that's his. There we go. That's his sort of line in the sand right there. Is, hey, everyone's got great tools. Great. What does that have to do with product management? Which I do have to say, like, just Shreyas is the only one allowed to have a hot take like this. Because if we came out with a hot take like this, oh man.
Yeah. We wouldn't fare well.
I think we would be fine, but I don't think we can get away from the Steelman, because this is what people would say immediately on the internet and on Twitter, and especially on LinkedIn, because that's where the hot takes come out of the woodworks the most to try to thirst for attention over here. They would say AI gives companies a massive permanent competitive advantage, and if you can just be faster than all your competitors, it doesn't matter what'll happen in 5 years. You got a competitive advantage now. But buy my book now, okay, or be left out, okay? And then the other one says, if you don't master agents, you're gonna get replaced. You got to have agents,
Used to be they said you have to have agency. Now you have to have agents. Interesting.
I thought they said you had to have the ShamWow. I thought that's what they had to say. You had to have the what was the thing that they slapped on the tank in the water? What was that?
Flex tape.
Yes. Oh, there's some good ones here, dude.
Yeah.
Like Pizza Party. Some good ones.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's the Band-Aid.
All right, well, there may or may not have been a flex tape or two meme thrown on the screen here when we're talking, but just in case there wasn't, these two Steelman points. Like, I mean, obviously, if we're playing the new game on the podcast, which is called Spot the Play. I don't have a slide for this one. That's our new game on the podcast. Spot the Play. I'm a big fan of the fear hook. Like I told you, and I don't think I was researching for a couple different podcasts that we're going to do in the future. I watched a podcast. Oh, I did go to LinkedIn because I said, hey, where do people go to get their learnings? And of course, nobody said anything. Yeah. No. The people that run LinkedIn Learning, like they're too busy getting lunch all day, and yeah, it's
good point.
Yeah, being thought leaders.
Right. Being lost in their own thoughts.
This has been a fun segment of the podcast. I feel we're not even in any of the categories.
Right?
I'm having a lot of fun, but we're not even in any of the categories yet. But the fear hook, you're constantly seeing LinkedIn posts screaming, AI won't replace you. PM with AI will replace you. Right? Oh, AI won't replace you. Another worker that grinds harder or whatever will replace you. Like, this is the same panic of, you should work 996 because if you don't work 996, you'll get replaced by somebody who will. You should work through the weekends and work for, pennies on the dollar or whatever because otherwise somebody else will. Boy, that's like, there's a million different ways I could play that fear hook. So I would hope that when people see it, they recognize that that's the mechanism being deployed. This has been the fear hook section of the podcast. It may or may not be a normal part of the podcast.
I hope it's not.
Well,
but we'll see.
Got news for you.
There's usually some hook. This time it happens to be the fear hook.
That's right. But this Steelman, like in the immediate short term, the people that are out of work now, or the product managers who are about to get displaced because their company is firing them as product managers and then reposting their job for 50% more money, slapping AI in front of it, and throwing model evals in the bullet points somewhere, Salt Bay and some.
Everyone starts doing that, and everyone starts saying they're leveraging AI. What happens, right? I don't know. I like this quote: "When everyone has a bulldozer, the winner is the one that has the knowledge on where to dig." That's the differentiator right there. Tools are no longer there to give you a competitive advantage.
I mean, I think you just nailed this podcast because that's if we look at our stance here. On screen, I'm showing the bullet points for our stance on this one that we kind of talked about. Is the tools, like, they don't provide the alpha, which is what Shreyas is pointing out. Because the tools become the next hot thing that you need. And yeah, they do cut you ahead. Like, I use AI every day now, and it definitely punches me ahead at light speed. Light speed's too slow. We need ludicrous speed. That's what I'm talking about. But they're commoditized. Everybody's got it now. Everyone can spend $20 and get Claude code or Claude code.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. So I think at the end of the day, when you look at it and say, if technology, AI, is a leveler, what makes you spring ahead of the competition?
Yeah. And then the other funny thing is I put execution in these slides, right? But AI accelerates delivery, making bad strategy fail that much faster. That's what I really meant by that bullet point.
Yeah.
So I put execution here. What I really mean is, hey, like, we got AI, and that means that we can deliver way faster. Great. Deliver the wrong thing way faster. And but remember, because we're doing OKRs, and they're all based on nonsense anyway, we can tick our boxes that were all nonsense boxes anyway because we had a bad strategy to start with.
We can tick them faster now.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
I should hold this one for later in the podcast. I did a fair amount of research on this topic. I know it seems like the old Arguing Agile podcast often seems like we're being very flippant with the categories in the discussion, but I did a good amount of research in this one. If the execution of code drops to zero, let's talk zero profit, but let's talk about the absolute zero, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I can spin up a program. It takes me zero time, right? At all. What future of software development does that lead to? Like, in the SaaS world, right? Does that lead to a SaaS world where now we're like going to like the software bazaar where we walk into the software show and everyone has to show how their software solves the same problem? Basically like a bazaar about like a particular problem, and all the software vendors bring their new solution because it costs zero to spin up new solutions. So now everyone just spins up 20, 30 solutions and brings them to the big round table, right? Yeah. And the customer then can come to the big tent and pick the best one that they see, right? Because
that is the promise.
It's
though,
the
right?
opposite. It's the opposite of the way that we've been doing software.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And that is the promise, that you can vibe code things a lot faster. And if a customer doesn't like something that you're showing them, guess what? You have 4 more up your sleeve.
Yeah, throw it away.
Because you just did all these variants.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And in discussion with the customer, you could spin something up and say, is this what you want? Almost like a piece of bespoke software for them, right?
Right. But yeah, that's that is one future out of what we're talking about. That, hey, AI accelerates execution, and all you need is delivery. But basically, you don't need a bunch of discovery. Just take guesses with your discovery, throw 30 of them out there, because it costs you the same to develop those as it would to develop one prototype. In the old school way of doing things. Yeah. We don't have designers anymore. We put out 30 guesses and shoot them all out to the client, which is, between you and I, it sounds ridiculous. Like, you're not, first of all, getting one prototype in front of the customer and getting them to actually pay attention and take their time and give you critical feedback was hard enough. Now you think they're going to look at 30? Come on.
They're absolutely not.
Let's talk. Like, where are the serious people?
They'll stop looking at more than one, especially if you've missed the mark, because your focus has been on speed. Right? So you didn't even land there, but you have something, and you have many of these things, and you're asking the customer, go through all these, pick the best you want, pick a card, any card. It doesn't work. From a customer standpoint, there's confusion. What is your product?
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to do for the next customer? Right?
What do you think about the last item that's up here? It says your permanent advantage, basically your product manager product advantage, is that you have applied your top tier judgment, your refined judgment, on top of AI. So in a world where you come up with 30 prototypes and you're ready to take to your why am I having such a problem with like a convention or something like that? You know what I mean? Like your big trade show or something like that. You're going to take like the best 3. Maybe that is where product sense is in the future. Right, that's a for statement to be like, hey, maybe this is the way that things are in the future. But also, I feel I'm just regurgitating the same thing as like, well, now they got to pay attention to 3 things. It was already difficult to get them to pay attention to 1 thing.
But here's the saving grace, at least from my standpoint. If you're applying judgment and you're the only one, you're still representing a product that you believe fits the bill. Yeah. How about applying judgment in conjunction with your customer? So get the customer in and say, here are 3 possible variants. Let's have a quick look. Discard the ones you don't like very quickly. Yeah. Right? I think there's merit there, honestly. I don't think you waste a whole lot of time, especially because tactically to get to execution has been so much quicker now with AI.
Yeah. We let me go to the so in this category, I wrote out a takeaway. It says to evaluate your daily PM tasks and then to categorize them by execution versus choices of judgment. Choice of judgment. That's probably clunky. 3 things here by which to do this. Number 1 is, hey, audit your week. Find out what percentage of your time is spent on the mechanics of how to do things, like the nitty gritty, right? A better way to say this would be the tactical.
Yeah, and that percentage of time should diminish, right?
Sure.
With AI. So
step 2 is automate the mechanics. Anything you have to do over and over again repeatedly, you should be able to figure out a way to automate that. I wouldn't do it maybe once, maybe twice to make sure you understand the process and then automate it. I do this, especially now that I work every day with AI. I don't stick around trying to do things over and over again. I will automate them nearly immediately. And then that's that, right? Now, the probabilistic return, and you'll have to spend your time on it anyway, and then you'll be scratching your head going, why did I even bother automating this if I have to touch every single output? This is ridiculous.
Yes, and there's my yes and for this podcast. The human in the loop touch point hopefully is lightweight at this point, right? So by the time you get around to evaluating the output, that time is much, much smaller, let's say, right, than the time it would have been doing things traditionally. Yeah. So if you're evaluating, that's all you're doing. You're just looking at things, casting judgment, discarding or counting in things. That's time well spent. I don't think you should be worried too much about it, because the alternative is to just blindly say, Okay, I take it away. And
Yeah.
that to me is a no-no.
You're trying to do all these things because you're trying to get to number 3 on my list, which is you're trying to get to a point where these things are handled so you can reinvest the new time that you have free to talk to people, to empathize with customers, to do some simulation on the market and the market conditions and stuff like that, so you can get back into the strategy layers. It's like a tactical strategic split really is what's happening here.
Yep.
And you're trying to automate as much of the tactical as possible so you can get back into the strategy world, because that's where your creativity can kind of shine.
Yeah, the slippery slope, the cost of not doing this, or the alternative, I guess, is instead of this last step number 3, people will be tempted to just churn out more, right? So go back to 1, go back to 2. Just come up with more and more and more output.
Yeah.
Maybe you could argue their outcomes, but they're not effective unless you're doing it this way, is what we're saying, right? Spend more time with your customers. Spend more time, a day in their life, so to speak, right? That's the only way you're going to know. So more isn't necessarily the focus here. Better is the focus.
What do you think? Are AI tools a temporary advantage or just a new baseline? Let us know in the comments. So if the tools are commoditized, then what actually separates a good product decision from a bad product decision? And can anyone tell when AI is doing all the heavy lifting?
Great questions.
He says you can't bank those use of those tools provides a long-term advantage because everyone else is going to be buying and using those tools.
Right.
So that's not a long-term, that's a short-term advantage. Great. AI can summarize 10,000 customer support tickets in 3 seconds, or whatever, maybe like 12 seconds, or in the case of Gemini that eats like paste, like, a couple more seconds than that. But does that actually mean that it understands your users? So the citation that I'm going to throw about, he says the only real long-term career moat for product people is how you can improve the already brilliant, already comprehensive inputs and outputs that AI will provide for you. And that's only what I clipped here. Sorry. That's only what I clipped for the show, because if you actually read in the article, here, I'll put the article on the screen. If you actually read in the article, he has another great zinger. He says, frankly, this will be a fairly high bar and one that most product people will find impossible to meet, which is a great zinger. I see you being a hater, Shreyas, and listen, I need more of it, is what I'm saying on the podcast. Your ability to improve on the slop that you're handed, the first draft that you're handed. And that's I don't know if you can hear that anywhere else, any other linked influencers.
You're certainly not going to hear it from the AI tool providers, right? Because they're touting the speed of AI.
Well, you know what you will hear from the AI tool providers? The Steelman items right here. AI sentiment analysis can replace qualitative user interviews, number 1. And number 2, the LM already knows what the customer wants. So those are 2 big sweeping statements. And maybe it's not sentiment. Maybe it's behavior analysis. It's not just sentiment. Let's say it's not something like raw and like flawed like sentiment. Because I've worked in an industry where we did sentiment analysis at scale on social media. It's a flawed process.
Sure.
It's like the data science only get you so far, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just sentiment analysis. Maybe it's behavior analysis, pattern of life, a couple other things together, and that can get you user prediction on functionality. That might be able to get you a long way to the end of your decision process, to making a quick, good decision. The LLM already knows what customer wants. I mean, I'm trying to take the best faith opposition here.
Right.
If your LLM is hoovering up all of the behavioral data from like your real deep, like Datadog, like real deep in the logs, no one PM or really developer is going to have all that knowledge at their fingertips. I mean, they can dig for it and find it, sure.
But it's
as
cumbersome,
As far as an LLM, like supplemented by a bunch of MCP servers and endpoints and stuff like that, aggregating the stuff in an automated fashion, there are powerful tools available to give you that insight and suggest a next course of action better than any one PM at scale could give you. It's tough to push back against that as like these tools are very powerful.
I mean, the tools do give you, advantage in terms of speed, just pure processing through the stuff. But the first point that talks about replacing user interviews, AI cannot really do that effectively. I mean, it can just look at historical things and say, here's what the behavior has been. It cannot ask meaningful questions beyond that, right? Whereas a human would be able to do that based on other circumstances, etc., that it doesn't know about. So I'd say, what if you could use AI to build a foundation and then go and have your user interviews? You probably find that they're more effective because you can ask better questions that way. But you can't just simply sub out the interviews for an LLM.
So let me separate for it, because on one hand, I'm trying to support the against on this. I don't know why in the old Western movie I'm the black hat cowboy. Like if your arguing point is summarization is not empathy, like you still need to deploy empathy. It's just the summarization and the recommendation or whatever. Shreyas says, even on another podcast that I listened to him on, he says the LLMs actually are better at empathy at most than most high-level like directors of product. And the example he used was most high-level directors of product and stuff like that, when he has like one-on-one sessions with them. I was going to say counseling sessions, but because that's really what he was describing. But you're not allowed to call it counseling sessions. Yeah. He says, like, usually I have to ask, I'm not recommending what you should do. I'm just recommending the couple things that you definitely should not do, and then trying to change your behavior based on recommending things you should definitely not do, because they, destroy teams and destroy trust and stuff like that. And he's with the LLM, it takes 2, maybe 3 prompts, and the LLM gets it and adjusts, and now is taking the empathetic route. With people in those positions, like there's egos involved and there's stuff like that, and usually he's like, I could have a 3-4 hour discussion with these people. What do you mean these people? Like, until they come around to my way of thinking, and still they're kind of like on the fence about the decision and whatnot. Just personally, I don't think replacing your user interviews with some kind of like scaled AI analysis, I don't think that's generally not a good idea. Because you're trying to like use it as a crutch to not talk to people. That's not great. That's not good. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of it's not empathy, the median answer that I will get out of the machine is not the best, right? Or even suitable, right? Everything needs to get punched up. Everything needs to be like taken with a grain of salt, looked at, look at the data coming back under hood, right? If we have, like, pretend we have some kind of like at scale analysis AI agent running, feeding us stuff. Well, it needs to come back with some kind of like report and then the high level summary. Like in the discussion so far between you and I, it's, we're just reading the high level summary and our recommendation. Okay, that's cool, but also it needs to show its work when it gives us a recommendation, so we people can look through, contact people, actually pick up the phone, and then decide. It's like an advantage in addition to what we're doing.
Exactly. Yes, it's not a replacement is what we're saying, right? It's an enabler, and the more effectively you can analyze the data, draw inferences, and then conduct your user interviews, right, the better you will be, and that's your competitive edge.
And even if it was pure AI analysis by itself, and that's all it was, those insights, quote insights, would be homogenized across all competitors. So we're all using Claude. We're all using Claude Code. We all love it. Whatever. We're on the Claude Max. Great. We're all getting the same answers.
So we all end up building the same product?
So we're all building the same thing. Yes.
There you go. All the more reason to not completely cut out those human touch points.
And it's extremely frustrating as a business to be in a market with a product where you go to a convention or something and everybody has same features but slightly different UX, but it's the same feature, and the customers show up, they look confused because everything looks the same. So you can't tell like which booth has like a rigorous team of deep expertise and which people are just like prompting the model and just throwing it out there. You have no idea.
Yep.
In that instance, what are you going to do? You're going to pick like the lowest price and just like get out of there. We had a discussion earlier in this podcast, I don't know if it got cut out, about the future when like building software drops to zero. The cost of building software drops to zero. Will the future become trade shows and bazaars like that, where we just build 30 prototypes and just bring the best 5 prototypes to the bazaar and then hope the customer picks the shiniest, nicest, coolest looking whatever. Like, is that the future of software?
I hope not, because look, just thinking about it from the customer's perspective, you go in, you're going to see 5 products that roughly look all the same.
Right.
I mean, yes, they're different, but you can't immediately tell what the differences are, and that's per vendor. So how are you going to pick? Then it comes down to vendor relations, price, etc. Right? I hope that's not where we're going to end up.
I mean,
that's a bizarre bazaar.
But
it's
you
a
can
possibility.
see it. You can see it. Let's pretend in the future the tools really do keep getting better and faster and more accurate.
No doubt they will.
Yeah, you could totally see a future where the most creative person to come up with the most different, the most creative outcomes, comes up with 30 outcomes, hones down through customer feedback to the best 4, 5, whatever. They're all pre-built because, again, the cost of building is 0. And you just bring your big custom solution to the bazaar.
At that point, you may as well just give them the building blocks and say, spin your own.
Yeah, right. Yes. Like there's a thing going around LinkedIn about don't try to rebuild HubSpot. But I think that's what we're saying is like,
that's
you're
right.
going to come to the bazaar and like there'll be 150 booths and half of them will have rebuilt HubSpot and it'll be complete. It will work.
Sure.
So you're really just picking the one, Is that the future of software? I don't know. Like, I mean, we're way off track. So the takeaway is going to be use AI to find the smoke and use humans to find the fire. And I'm going to give 3 points here. Here we go. Number 1, run your feedback through an LLM to identify the top 3 recurring themes. Like in a future state, we're going to run our feedback through an LLM and
it will just give you the top 3 or 1.
We're just going to develop the top 3 features, I guess, because the cost is 0. And
Right.
then number 2, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call 5 customers, and you're going to run your prototypes, run your 3 solutions by those 5 customers. And then the last one is you're going to ask why, so you find the gap that your AI can't explain. The last, you do the 80% with the AI, and the last 20% you're going to jump with your human expertise, your product intuition. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That future is much more palatable to me.
I know we do a for and against on the podcast.
Yeah.
This takeaway, very strong. If you want to set up your company this way and like strip all the rest of corporate everything out of it, this is solid. Come up with your prototypes. Come up with 30 prototypes. Do whatever, right? Pick the best. Call 5 customers. Walk through all the prototypes with them, assuming you can get them to commit that kind of time. And then, and then start asking them why per prototype, capture all that feedback and roll it in.
I'm also open to the mindset where you don't have a product at the end of it. You have a bespoke product for the customer.
Right.
So you work with them, right? And then you say, well, here are 3 things or 5 things that you can look at. And they might like bits and pieces of each of those, but not any one of those.
Right.
And you can have them spin up something that's kind of like a hybrid solution, taking bits and pieces from those 5 or 3, however many.
Right.
And that's their answer, right? But another customer could come up with a completely different one.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You have to think through the logistics thereafter, though, how you're going to support it, all of that stuff, right? But that's a different problem for a different day.
That's a different podcast.
Yes.
That's right. All right. So what do you think? Like, can an LLM ever replace a genuine user interview? Let us know in the comments. So we're going to move on to the next category, which is going to be a debate on strategy versus prompting. Once you actually figure out what the customer needs, you have to decide what to build. And relying on AI to write your strategy is problematic.
It's a problem. Why is that a problem, Brian?
It's because if you use the same LLM as your competitors, I'm glad you asked. If you use the same LLM as your competitors to write about your product strategy, how long until you and your competitors are all building the exact same app? Oh boy, this is a category.
It sure is, yeah, and definitely this is a potential outcome, right, in the future where people, again, technology is a leveler. Everybody's using different LLMs that have pretty much similar capabilities, whether you're using A versus B, etc. So you're building products that look very close to one another.
So here is Shreyas's trade secret of how you use that AI tool. It can only be via how you can improve upon what these highly powerful AI tools provide you. But we're going to put this on the screen just to read Shreyas' article. It says it cannot be via some trade secret of how you use the AI tools. It cannot be via using 2 or more AI tools than everyone else does. It can only be via how you can improve on what these highly powerful AI tools provide you, whether it is customer insight, marketing insight, analytic insight, strategic recommendations, prioritization suggestions, go-to-market ideas, etc. And who is the you here? It is you, the product leader, the human who's eventually responsible for product outcomes, result, and success. And he says, I will repeat, the only long-term career moat for product people is how you can improve on the already brilliant, already comprehensive inputs and outputs that the AI will provide for you, which is the quote from the last section here reiterated. And again, let's talk Steelman. Right. We have his prophetic go-to in the article that we just read. Let me go straight to the Steelman. Hey, you can generate a complete go-to-market strategy with the right prompt or with the right, skill file in Claude or whatever. And also, AI templates de-risk launches by using established, quote, best practices. They're the best practices. We haven't heard that term in a long time on the podcast.
We haven't. Yeah.
Best practices. That means there's no other better. Nothing else.
Yeah.
See, it's the alpha and the omega. Sorry.
Both of these points are simply saying that AI can do it all, right? And you can blindly trust it. But then also the point you made earlier, if all the competitors are using AI, let's assume effectively, similarly, then now what happens? Every product looks very, very similar. And where is your competitive advantage here? So Shreyas' thesis is the secret sauce is in the application of what AI gives you, right? And how well you can do this yourself as a product leader. So this is where the human comes into the loop, right? Yeah. And now we have variation because that expertise, that skill isn't the same across the board of competitors. It varies. So therefore, just extrapolating on what he's saying, improve upon those skills and layer them on top of the outputs and the outcomes from AI tools.
Like we had Arguing Agile 254, QA is dead, why a massive QA boom is coming. In that podcast, I lobbied to say, hey, you need to move your QA people to the business side of the house so they can, not only can they ensure that your applications are running at some kind of like spec, right? Running at some kind of like predetermined level of quality.
Conformance and compliance, but also fitness for purpose.
But also that they can verify business assumptions.
Yeah.
You put them in front of your business users to say, oh, well, every user wants XYZ. And then the QA person's ears perk up and like, oh, did you make a claim? Did you make a quantitative claim of every user must want that we can test? And then you put them, I understand we made product operations and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. We broke these little things up and like tried to make new jobs for them, none of which took off, by the way. I don't know, like it's
true.
all like the Lenny and Claire Vaux of the world, like they're all sharing that graphic where like product designers are completely flat and they're like, who could have done this? I almost want to make a like, oh, who could have shot our product designers? Oh, it was you. Yeah, this is a deep meme right here. I need to have that on the site. It's a generator right there.
I
don't know. Anyway, I feel like I need to get through this podcast before I worry about sweet memes. So the problem with using LLMs to help you generate a strategy is like it's just going to hallucinate up a strategy. As a product person who has tried to help a company adjust their strategy, having access to data across all departments in the business, just like holding it in my head and coming up with a strategy. Like the LLM would need access to all the department. I'm thinking about like what it would truly need access to to come up with a good strategy across the whole business.
Yeah, that's not likely. Also, it can only just get to like structured data possibly,
right?
Not necessarily everything,
right? So it's a big lift, And then the other things here is that strategy, like it requires anticipating competitive futures. Like you can't. I guess you could run a framework for a strategy, maybe to a point, assuming that certain things are predictable. You could run a framework, which I think of as you could run a LLM to do it. But at the point where you have to use like human creativity, I don't like
human creativity and human judgment. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then the last point that I have here, which is I just put this in here for fun. That's how you know that I wrote it. It says if your strategy is not highly opinionated, it's probably bad. It's probably corporate theater. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to pressure test that with others, right?
Yeah, I mean that's straightforward. You should be able to pressure test it.
Yeah.
Like let's go straight into the takeaways. I'm sad that this takeaway is not pressure testing, but treat AI as a red teamer, not an original thinker or author or thought leader. I think that got cut out of our. I think that got cut out in the law section of the podcast. Me going on and on for 20 minutes about a thought leader, thought leader. Anyway, write your core product strategy in differentiators in a plain text document. We're working with AI now, so this is what we're doing. Feed it to an LLM and prompt it to play the role. That's right. The LLM is playing the role
now
of your most aggressive competitor. And then the third point is adjust your strategy based on the vulnerabilities that it finds.
And rinse and repeat.
That's exactly right. So if we're using AI to our advantage, it's doing some red teaming.
Oh boy. All right. So I think we're at the closing of that, right?
What do you think? Is your company relying too much on AI in the strategy and thinking department? And let us know in the comments. I mean, if you still work there. If you don't work there anymore, if you still work there, like maybe anonymously, let us know in the comments. Yeah, I'm not trying to get you fired, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. We name no names.
Yeah, and if you found this useful, stick around because the next category is all about AI making decisions for you and why you may or may not think that's a good thing. Business leaders, especially when they're on a big stage at home, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
They love to say that a fast B+ decision beats a slow A- decision every time. Or could be a fast B- decision beats a slow A+ decision every time. That's what I think they would say. But what happens when AI makes everybody fast? The speed of conviction might matter as much as the quality of conviction. In a world where AI dramatically compresses execution times, the leader who makes a B+ decision today might consistently beat the leader with an A+ product sense who takes a week longer. This actually true in practice. And there's some CEOs say this at a conference, but is it actually true? Oh boy.
Claude says no, it's not.
So we're going to put him up on the screen. And in the article, he's kind of going back and forth with Claude about decisions. And he says, beat the leader with an A+ product sense who takes a week longer. And he asks, is this actually true in practice? He says, I know some CEOs say this at conferences, but is it actually true? And Claude's response to him in this kind of back and forth that he has in this article is no, it's not true. It's one of those things that sounds true and gets repeated constantly, but when you look at the actual outcomes, it falls apart. And the actual outcomes, I'm not going to read through every single bit of this. You can read through it inside, but he references a couple things, one of which is Jeffrey Bezos disagree and commit, in which Jeffrey Bezos says you shouldn't make the one-way door versus two-way door decisions. If the one-way door decision is your B+ in this case, and your two-way door decision is the A+ in this case, you should wait the extra week to make that because you can take it back.
Right.
Whereas otherwise, it's going to cost you dearly. Speed was never the problem in the first place. Ooh, boy. I said that on LinkedIn recently. Speed to coding execution was never the problem.
And let me guess, people stomped all over.
Oh boy, people came out of the woodwork like it was 1999 to tell me I was wrong. They were like, hold on, honey, put the dinner in the microwave for me because someone's wrong on the internet. And they were, them keyboard commandos with their capes flapping in the breeze. They came after me.
Oh my.
Wrong, kid, wrong. But it wouldn't be the Arguing Agile podcast if there wasn't a Steelman that I can go straight into to kick this category off. Speed of execution is the ultimate moat in software home. And if everything's moving to a trade fair, I just execute 3 different fully integrated workflows, and I do it faster than everyone else, and I get to market faster than everyone else. That's the ultimate competitive advantage, number 1. Number 2 is a fast B+ decision beats a slow A+ decision, which I wish I didn't even add on here because he already undermined it in the article.
Yeah.
To see,
Yeah.
But anyway, the speed of execution, that's the ultimate moat.
Turbo mode all the time.
Turbo mode. Just click the turbo button. Do you remember when computers had a turbo button? Yeah, do you remember that? Oh, man.
Refrigerators and computers all have turbo buttons on them now.
Boy.
So that's speed. That's the essence here. Speed of execution is everything. However, is it? Because you're moving quickly, right, at warp speed. But where are you going? What's your direction?
Oh, boy. Fast B-plus decisions. They create compounding cascades of expensive corrections. And I want to throw that one out there and just let it sit out there for a second, because when we talked about Arguing Agile 247, AI is a poor team player, Stanford's Cooper Bench experiment, February 4th, 2026. When we talked about that one, we talked about rework in AI product managers.
Was there a quality or a tech debt one where we talked about rework?
So I think it might have been CEO. So in one of the last episodes, we talked about the fact that the people that are putting in time with AI in their workflow, they're having like 37% extra rework. They're a certain percentage faster, but out of that percentage faster, like a good majority is spent on rework.
Right.
To have to deal with what the AI is doing. And that's sort of this one is like you have a B-plus decision. You call it a B-plus decision. And then you have to go back and like do a bunch of rework, or a bunch of outcomes that weren't predicted, and deal with that, deal with a mess. Deal with a mess. And you're saying, well, it's worth dealing with a mess because I was first to market and I was whatever, The issue is a lot of people that make that determination, they never go back and look at the effects of their decision, second, third order effects of their decision, and talk about that in terms of financial impact. They kind of just like...
Ain't nobody got time for that. They're moving forward fast.
They press everyone to move along.
That is a real phenomenon out there. You've seen companies suffer as a result of that, right, long term. But short term looks great. People that make these decisions get promoted and get their bonuses and sail off into the sunset on their yachts.
Well, are they sailing? Are they sailing? It's not a podcast. I get a crisscross reference in there. The other thing I'll say is, listen, a true product sense. That's not slow. It wastes less time than going down all these side roads and detours or whatever, where we're chasing the wrong implementation. Okay, we implemented 30 different implementations, and now we got to look at them all to figure out which one's the best.
So there's that load on you, right?
Yeah. So it's like you replaced that slow, methodical work with a bunch of fast, busy work. Like, I don't know. Like, this is one of those things that's like, okay, if we're at the trade bazaar, if that's the future of software development, we implement 30 different solutions. And then we look at them and make a qualitative decision of which one we think is the best that we want to bring to market. It isn't like some kind of work just being replaced with a different kind of work, and we're not really punching ahead. Yeah. We're all just like a little busier. Is that the world we're headed towards? Like, we're moving at light speed in all the wrong directions. Is that the world of the future?
I think so. Not the world of the future, but I'm seeing that happen out there. Okay. People are just focused on speed, aided and abetted by the purveyors of these tools. That's how they're selling their tools, So, and people are falling for that. So, yeah, this is actually I don't know. If we're not careful, we're going to end up eventually exactly where we are now. It's just that we spend less time creating things and then more time fixing them.
It won't be exactly where we are right now, because we'll also be giving a bunch of money to Sam Altman while he's looking for a man in finance. Although he did shut down his Sora. He was I don't want to spend money on this anymore, because apparently nobody wants it and it's not profitable. And why did you launch it in the first place, Sam Altman? I think he was driving his Bugatti and he got a shower thought, and anyway, it's complicated. That's what I'm saying. Being a tech CEO is complicated. If we're going to get out of this with something helpful, the two-way door tests would be the suggestion before applying AI speed to decision making. What is a two-way door test? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You want to ask, if we ship this and we're wrong, can we easily reverse it without a bunch of rigmarole? Like that one?
Rigmarole includes things like data loss, but also reputation loss for your company, right? Because that's a lot harder to reverse and recover from.
That's right.
So that's a great, checkpoint right there. So, if we ship it, we screwed up, can we retract ourselves from this quickly?
So if the answer is yes, just ship it.
Yes.
Yes, because you have agents, you have AI, you have all kinds of automated systems.
Ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. Like, no problem. Like, nobody's debating any of that. Send it on its way. If the answer is no, now it's a slightly more complicated answer because you have to apply human judgment and some product sense before going in and changing the code. Which is like, if you work, like, for me, who works mainly solo, like, I do this all the time. Like, I'll ship something. If I don't like it the way that because I use I dog food my own product. If I ship something, I don't like the way that it works. I don't like the way that it feels, right? I will change it. I will not sit around with something that I am not completely satisfied with. I'm skipping the feedback step because I'm also the user, but you easily could divorce the two to say, I'm going to ship something, or potentially 2 or 3 things, because you can do wireframes too.
You sure could.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And the user will tell you, I like this part from wireframe A, but I like this part from wireframe C. I don't like wireframe B at all. Now we know.
Yeah, and you can iterate and go back and do the same thing again, having adjusted for that feedback. So, yeah.
What do you think? Does your team use speed to market as a crutch for bad judgment? Let us know in the comments. Again, if you can, let us know in the comments. And if you found this useful, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is if everyone has the same execution speed, the same access to LLMs, and the same execution speed as each other, then they all have the same tools, right? And potentially all running on the same infrastructure, because again, even that's consolidating in the future. Shreyas says it all comes down to taste. And by the way, I will tell you, it is a pretentious word that I absolutely despise. But even though I despise it, it is a concept that we have to talk about.
Taste. Italian chef kiss. Taste.
Hey, what's it coming to go? Let's not mince some words in this next category, I hate the word taste. It sounds absolutely pretentious. It doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it curation. It still sounds pretentious, so we're not getting out of this. You can call it judgment, also like slightly less pretentious. You can call it whatever you want. Like when AI gives every company the exact same 10 excellent recommendations, how do you know which one that you should pick?
Ask AI. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's check with Shreyas. So he says the 5 categories of product sense. Category number 4 is great taste. Taste. It says, given a set of excellent recommendations, can you figure out which recommendation is optimal for your business goals? And can you explain your thinking in ways that others understand? Which I would say is probably the more critical part of his categories he's outlining, is you can explain it. Because I've been that guy in product that can hone in on the exact right course, but maybe doesn't have the exact words to articulate why that's the best course. And that's just a recipe for disaster right there. And then people are going to hate your suggestion just because it's your suggestion. And they have other, more favorite recommendations or whatever for different reasons, right? Bonuses, or because it was their idea, and, the IKEA effect in product, like we talked about on another podcast.
Egos.
Egos, all kinds of stuff. That's a great little category. Yeah.
Maybe we'll hit him up in the comments on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll have to not vomit from the bad taste of the product taste as a word. Like, I just can't.
God-given right to it.
Thank you. Curation is an unquantifiable buzzword for designers. Same thing as taste. Taste is an unquantifiable buzzword for designers. Like, the team can't move forward with taste. So we should not use that term. Okay, number 1. Number 2, if AI says that this layout converts, and the AI can prove, like if you do like A/B tests with AI, the AI can prove that a particular layout or screen design or whatever converts, you should just ship that. Like, you don't need to worry about taste if you're doing A/B tests or whatever else. The Steelman here kind of is in the court of like, taste is a nonsensical thing, and you can just boil it down to things that you can quantify for your designers, evidence, and if it's intuition, then you can give intuition to the AI and ship it at speed and prove it at speed and just let the AI take it over. So, like, taste is kind of like nonsense in the AI world.
It's
that's what we're saying.
Yeah. So taste is a bit like saying, ship this because I have a pretty good gut
I have a
feel,
gut feeling. Right.
which is also unquantifiable.
Sure. Yeah. But one of those is brought to you by a product leader, and the other one is brought to you by your boss. Like, you have to do one of them.
That's the kicker right there.
Oh, there are things that have been cut out of this podcast for the children. Oh boy, product taste. I don't know, man. There are some points that we have here for, but I don't know. Like those against were very good for my side of the argument. They were very good. So let's just throw out the for case here. Go ahead and look at these. And, whatever you call it, it separates a disjointed Franken-app from a cohesive product. I don't know if that really proves anything.
That just simply, to me, that reads like this. It separates a disjointed Franken-app with another shaped Franken-app.
Okay.
Well, I don't see the value there. Whatever you call it, because what you're injecting into it is pixie dust. Like it's not quantifiable, right? Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I don't really have a whole lot of time for that first one, honestly. That justification is not solid.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The second one says AI optimizes for local maximums. Human judgment aims for the global vision. I like this one more because AI doesn't have the wider perspective.
And I will tell you, just working with AI, this one is true. Like the AI does not know about the system, and it also doesn't know about the unknowns because you have it might know about the unknowns, but because you haven't connected the dots between, hey, this is a solution we landed with, but what other stronger solutions are there? It's not going to tell you that. It's just going to say, yes, I absolutely understand what you're asking for. This is great. This is how we should go about it. And you're like, wait a minute, that solution is not even being maintained when I look at the Git. Like repo, right. It's been like deprecated and all the maintainers have moved over here. Why are you not suggesting we go with the next evolution of the, you didn't ask me that.
Right.
And that's what it will do.
Yeah.
Just because it's not thinking systems level. And I already can hear the people arguing about this. Well, you should prompt harder, bro. Like you do more reps in the gym of prompts or whatever. You didn't put it in your skills file that you should always look for updated. Come on.
At the end of the day, you can't prompt for everything. Come on. There are things you just can't.
The moving the goalposts never gets old.
Right. Exactly.
The last one here is creative execution builds a unique solution that AI didn't suggest. Creative execution. This is what you get when you have creative developers executing things.
Yep.
And like building what AI is trained on in the first place. This one's going to be tough with people because they're going to say, look, most apps are not like super creative. Most apps are crappy crud apps that just need to work and move forward. Like you don't need to be super creative. Just get it done. I feel like I'm everyone's boss right now on the podcast. Listen, I don't need creative. Just get it done.
It just needs to work. Ship it yesterday.
That's right.
All right. So this one's not as strong, but it has more merit than the first one.
I have a takeaway that I would like to hit quickly and then be done with this podcast. So establish your product's core tenets. What does that mean? Write down 3 non-negotiable UX or brand rules for your products. Again, we're building a skill file at this point, potentially. You could look at it that way. When evaluating an AI-generated solution, grade it against those 3 rules. You can do more than 3. That's fine. And then if it violates a tenet, reject it, even if the AI claims that it's highly optimized. And there's a lot more that I could do in this category.
Yep.
Talk about, do this, then that, then whatever. I'm just going to start by saying, have some guardrails. Bake that into your AI so it follows your rules as you go along. And again, don't ask the AI to do everything for you,
Yeah. On that number 1, when you're writing down non-negotiable UX or brand rules for your product, that's not just coming from you and your team. If you involve your customers as well, you're already further along at that point, right? Rather than somebody who singularly writes down things in a file or whatever. So this one is solid to me. Write down those things. They're must-haves anyway. You could go further. You could say write down 3, 4, or however many other things that might be. We're now into the Moscow, right? That might be good to have, nice to have, whatever. Yeah. But you got to hit these ones first. And maybe that's what you do, in your first release. It's just the non-negotiable ones. The other ones you could try to negotiate. But yeah, the number 1 here is a solid one. Number 1 and 2 go together.
Moscow is a good one. Like we haven't brought that up in a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
If you're working with an AI for the to follow your way of thinking and stay inside the bounds of your decision making, Moscow's a good one because you can put that in the skill as well.
You can, and that's a framework that it can work with.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for that category. So let us know in the comments if you have any strong opinions on ways to use AI for your strategy going forward. That kind of brings us to the end of this podcast where we talk about what do we spot today? What did we learn? We're going to talk about, we're going to kind of recap the promise in this podcast, which is we identify the AI execution trap. We talked about the 5 pillars of product sense that Shreyas talks about in this article. And then we want to stop competing on commoditized skills because, again, if everybody has access to AI, what are the advantages here? We didn't even talk about the original concept that I wrote out when I wanted to talk about this podcast is you've got director of product, VP of product, these folks generally should be coming up with like strategic level product visions and stuff. Mm-hmm. And these people are relying on AI because, again, they've never worked in the individual contributor product role, right? They come from alternate roles. So they're basically lost when it comes to product management.
Right.
So they're using AI and other tools. And at the point where they're using all these tools and not really understanding the core, not having a core to go back to vet it out to make sure it's good and stuff like that, right? Not being able to mobilize product managers because they kind of are standoffish with the product managers that they work with. Because, again, they've not done the job.
Right.
Now you get this real friction. And when everyone can use the AI tools to BS their way through strategy, are these folks being completely exposed at their level in the organization? And now you've got a real problem.
Yeah.
You meaning like if you're the CEO in the organization, you have a real problem now. You know, what that problem is and how to deal with it, that's a much different podcast than
it's
we talked about
worthy of
today.
doing. Right.
But that was the original concept of why and how I put this podcast together with Shreyas's article, which was a great guideline and valuable in its own. But I'm still not satisfied with what I just said, that this podcast dealt with it. Yeah. And we might plan another one.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, in the future. Should. So if you enjoyed this one, like and subscribe. We're a small podcast, believe it or not. Every like and subscribe helps us go to the moon.
Oh, yeah. And if you can taste your product, let us know. Ooh.